What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger, and today I'm going to talk about the passive-aggressive beta male dad, the covert narcissist dad. I'm going to talk about these dads who did not teach us to be men. I'm going to talk more in the perspective of, I guess, a father-son relationship in this video, but yeah, I mean, this has been... just thinking about this and just thinking about my dad, it's just been making me angry all day, and it's just so much stuff inside of me, and it's just these kind of guys are so manipulative, and my dad was very manipulative, and he always made me feel like my mom was the bad guy and that the cause of all our family's problems was due to my mom. And you know, my mom is narcissistic herself, and she can definitely have a lot of blow-ups and a lot of outbursts and a lot of issues and stuff. You know, she wasn't a good mom either, and my dad he did not care about anything, you know? He didn't care at all. He never taught me how to ride a bike. He just resented us for even existing, and, you know, my dad's some weird, spineless, manipulative loser, and he wanted me to become a spineless, manipulative loser too, just like Dad, and did whatever he could to sabotage my masculinity, to sabotage me as a man, and to sabotage my development, and to not teach me the right things. And yeah, he was just selfish, and there was a lot of stuff that he could have protected me from. There was a lot of stuff he could have taught me about life, and he just didn't do any of it, you know? He was just selfish, and I really used to see him as my hero. I really used to think he was a hero. And I really used to think he was this big victim of my mom and this big victim and all this stuff. And I'm realizing now that he was extremely selfish, you know, because he was in the house. You know, when I grew up, my dad was in the house, but it was like I never had a dad, you know. Nobody to really teach me how to live life the right way. Nobody to teach me skills, nobody to teach me about life, nobody to teach me about women, nobody to teach me about anything. Yeah, he was just there, and he resented having to spend any amount of time with me that he had to spend, you know? I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, and my dad would go jogging, and he's, "I'll take you jogging with me." Who takes their 4-year-old jogging? Who does that? And then after a couple blocks, I got tired, and I could see he was kind of like frustrated. "You're holding me up. You're ruining my jog. You know, I could see that. And there was definitely this like frustration. Why do I have to deal with this kid? Why do I have to have this kid slowing me down? He didn't say it directly, but I could see it in him, you know. There was no sense of ownership or taking care of anybody, or, you know, none at all. And he was very good at wearing a mask and very good at looking like he's so caring and so conscientious, and, you know, doing some little favor for you and making it like it's the biggest deal, you know, picking me up from school or whatever and making it out like it's the biggest deal, and, you know, and it's so great, and, you know, but it was all a show. It was all a game. It was whatever, you know. And I grew up as an Orthodox Jew, and my dad himself is not Jewish, and my mom herself grew up culturally Jewish but was not involved in all that religion. And these rabbis, basically, you know, rabbi is like a Jewish you know, pastor or teacher, they basically just, you know, sprinkled some fairy dust in my mom's eyes and convinced her to go along with this thing, and convinced her to throw her whole family into this thing. And you know, I had a very painful childhood because of it, you know. There were a lot of crazy religious rules I had to follow, rules involving what foods I could eat, rules involving just anything and everything. There's all these insane OCD religious rules I had to follow, and I didn't get to go to a normal school. I had to go to these different schools. I wasn't allowed to talk to girls or anything like that, so that made my teenage years not very fun. And it was just a really negative, smothering, just bad environment to be in. And my dad could have protected me from that, you know. He could have, but he just chose not to. And he acted like it was some big thing where, like, I can't. Your mom's forcing us to do that. I can't risk a divorce. I can't risk this and that. But when it came time for him to get a new truck, he could always get the new truck with the toolbox that he liked. And when it came time for him to get some carbon fiber bicycle that he wanted, he could do it. When it came time for him to get a motorcycle, he could do it. When it came time for him to get all this new camping equipment, he could do it. But when it came to actually protecting his family, all of a sudden, his hands were just tied. He couldn't do it, He was selfish. He was so selfish, He was so selfish. And it's like I never even had, I don't have a father, That's how I look at it. And, I know a lot of people watching this could probably relate and had to deal with having a dad like this. But it's just like, you just get thrown to the wolves. You get thrown to the wolves of life. You get thrown into all these bad situations. You're just like, please, give me guidance. How do I write a resume? Please, Dad, give me guidance, How do I do all this stuff? And he just didn't care at all, He didn't care what happened to me. He didn't care. He would joke about how I'd end up in jail one day and stuff. And, just so many nasty, passive-aggressive vibe, little jabs and little nasty things. And everyone had this whole thing, oh, your dad is so cool, dad is so this, and your mom is so mean, and your dad is such a victim of her, and the whole family believed this, And deep down, we all kind of knew he was a coward and stuff, but everybody propped this stuff up, and it's taken me really to really get older and to really just take the sand out of my eyes and just, get the hypnosis off me and not be under that spell. And I realized he was a horrible father. He just didn't care at all. He was all about himself and all about his own narcissism. And the thing about covert narcissists are harder to detect. Overt narcissists, grandiose narcissists will be up in your face and they'll be doing all these arguments and all this criticism and boasting and being all egotistical and whatever. Covert narcissists try to make you think they're this big, nice guy. They really try to make you think they're this big victim. And they try to get you to feel all bad for them. And, you poor man. It's more women that are covert narcissists than men. It's a more feminine kind of thing. But, oh, you poor man and stuff like that. But, and I can talk about the roles being reversed a bit. I can tell you when I was dealing with some bully in school and stuff, it wasn't my dad that told me to hit back. It wasn't my dad that told me to stand up for myself. It was my mom. He did not care. I really don't think he cared whether I lived or died, I honestly don't, and he would make this big show of, I love you kids so much, and this big blubbering thing, but he didn't do anything to set me up to have a future. He never taught me how to ride a bike. Just let that sink in, He never taught me how to ride a bike, It's I had to, I had to, father myself. I had to figure out who I am and how to be a man and all this stuff myself because he did not give a crap. These beta male, passive-aggressive dads just don't care. They don't care what happens to you. And they're going to cry about how it's so hard for them. They're going to cry about their life. And they're going to cry about poor old dad and all this stuff. And, when they just sat back and didn't do crap. And honestly, did damage. Did a lot of damage. Did tons of damage. Give me a sec here. I got a left turn. Did lots of damage because the guilt trips were insane, I'd be a little kid. He'd come home from work. Oh, I was stuck in a 45-minute traffic jam where you played you with your toys. Must be fun to be a kid. Must be fun to just get to not pay bills and get to play around on your PlayStation. Must be fun. Must be fun to play these computer games. Well, I'm working. Must be fun to not have to have a job. He'd hit me with this stuff constantly. Constantly. And I just what I was used to. I thought that was normal. And really when I realized, he did not want to have to be a man. He did not want to have to provide for a family. And before he met my mom, he had some kid with another woman, and she came in and helped him raise that kid and helped him get through college and helped him, you know, get a decent job and all that kind of stuff. You know, he did not have any of his crap figured out. And it's like the thing with these like beta male, covert narcissist guys, like they want a woman to figure their life out for them. And that's what he wanted, you know? And I'm not going to praise my mom and say she's a great person. She's not. She's a narcissist. But it's just like these guys disgust me. You know, these guys disgust me. And I'm especially angry because, like, I was a little kid and I fell for the crap. I fell for his stupid games, you know? I really did. I fell for it, you know? And he really thought he was going to come in and have some big truck and drive me around in the truck and buy me some candy. And then, oh, Dad, you're this big hero. But now I'm freaking almost 31 and I'm realizing, like, I have such issues in my life because of this person. His software that he downloaded into my brain is bad software, and I have to take it off. And I have to, like, be reprogrammed, and I have to reprogram myself because the lesson that this guy taught me was not good. He taught me to cry and to be a victim and to manipulate people and to how your whole life is some big sob story. And, you know, he taught me to be this effeminate man who gossips. And, you know, like, that man will gossip, man. Like, these beta male guys will gossip like crazy. And, like, now he's got a new wife and he's old and he wants her to work so he can survive. You know, they want to leech off women. They really do. They want to leech and live off women. And it's just, I hate it. I really hate it. It's really, you know, like, I'm getting more personal than I normally do in this video, but I'm pissed off because, you know, like, I felt cheated and conned. Like, I was supposed to have a dad, but I didn't, you know. I got this stupid runaround instead. I got the runaround of love bombing, and he'd buy me all this candy. Oh, I bought you a Reese's peanut butter cup bar. Isn't your dad awesome? It gives you candy, and oh, it's like, I wish we could have spent time together, you know? I wish we could have did stuff together, and just every moment around him was just miserable. He was always frustrated. He was always annoyed. He was always pissed off. You never knew what would set him off. You never knew what would bother him, and he was always just in this weird bad mood and always all frustrated and gonna be in the shop by myself. And I'm telling you, like, he'll make a boat. Like, last time I saw him, I don't talk to him anymore, but last time I saw him, he was making like a canoe out of wood he got from like Home Depot. He taught zero of that to me. He taught me nothing. That man taught me nothing. Really, you know, and a lot of us, we have dads like this that just, they don't want to put in the effort to be a father. They don't want to make the sacrifices. They don't want to teach anything to anybody. They do not want to teach anything to anybody. And it's like they take no ownership. He took no ownership. Like, I remember, we got a dog for the family, you know, and then the dog was more like, I'm trying to think of how to tell the story. We had two dogs. First, we got this dog we got a pug. And then my dad decides he wants a dog that's going to be his dog and all this kind of stuff. And so I get this little dog called the Skipper Keith, this little black dog. And it's my dad's dog, and it's a dog he picked out. It's a dog for him, and it's going to be his dog and not my mom's dog, and blah, blah, blah. And look, because my dad is such, you know, someone who does not take ownership and someone who is not loving and someone who is cold and weird and creepy, that dog started to develop all these issues and all these attachment issues and got sick and felt all abandoned and weird and stuff. And the dog ends up becoming really bonded to my mom and becomes like, you know, my mom becomes the dog's favorite person because she actually has some ownership and some kind of parental capability. You know, this man is not a parent, you know. He couldn't even parent a dog without messing the dog up. You know, there's no reassuring, there's no taking ownership, there's no whatever. It's just, you know, it's just all about him, you know. He's so selfish. You know, it's just that's what it is. That's what it is. That's how selfish that MF was. That's how selfish and pathetic and weird that MF was. And he wanted me to be a weird, passive-aggressive loser like him, you know? Some weird person who's just going to be gossip about people and be disrespectful and be annoying and be weird. And I'm not doing it, you know? I'm not going to be that kind of person. I'm not going to be that kind of man. And I really wish, like, I mean, it's going to sound messed up, but I wish he wasn't there, you know? I just wish he wasn't around, you know? Because just his negativity and just his passive aggressiveness and just his always some weird cut down, always some weird, you know, he really is a woman. He would give backhanded compliments. He loved to do that, to say, oh, you know, you're working out so much, you're really getting in great shape, you know, and it's, you know, maybe it's not a bad thing you didn't go to college. Maybe that just wasn't for you, you know, like, he would just say a lot of stuff like that, you know, a lot of these backhanded, passive aggressive, just nasty things. And, you know, I really can't be around that guy. And the thing about my mom, like, I don't like her either. I don't talk to her either, but we had the yelling matches. We had the fights. We had the arguments. You know, my dad, because I'm so sensitive, and, oh, you're being mean to my dad, and because he's just deflecting everything and doesn't want to even discuss anything and wants to always change the subject and all this stuff. We never had these conversations, you know? And so I say curse him even worse, you know? Curse him 10 times as much as my mom, you know? Let it be really, my Father in heaven, let it be really bad for this man, you know? This man had a responsibility to raise me. This man had a responsibility to be my father and to teach me how to be a man, and he did not do any of that. He just wanted to sit back, you know, have his own time and not spend any time with us and not teach us anything and go on about himself, and, you know, just freaking stupid boomer crap, you know. And it just, like, as a man, the devastation of this it's just brutal, you know, because that's where you get your personality from. That's where you learn how to be a person. That's where you learn how to be a man, is from your father, you know? So I'm going to learn to be this passive-aggressive, manipulative, self-sabotaging loser like he is, you know? I'm going to learn to be that. That's who I'm going to be as a man. That's who I'm going to be as an adult. No. I say no to that. I say no way to that. I say no how to that. I say absolutely not to that. You know, and it's like everybody, especially boys, but you know, girls too, but especially as a boy, as a young man, you want to see your father as your hero. You do. And that illusion, some people are crossing the street. And it's like, you don't want to have that broken. You don't. You want to continue to see your dad as your hero. And you don't want to have to say, my dad is a loser, screw him. You don't want to have to come to that. You just don't. But when all your dad does is just be covert and manipulative and act like a victim and act like this big guy you gotta feel sorry for, and this is nice guy, this cool guy, whatever. Like, really, like, it's just, and he's so manipulative. He was so freaking manipulative, and he got so many people to think he's this good, nice person, and he's such a nice guy, and he's so this and that. He got so many people to believe in it. He got so many people to believe in that freaking crap. You know, he really did. And it's just like, I want some justice to come his way. I want some karma to come that man's way. I really do. It's because none of this was ever dealt with. None of this was ever talked about. None of this was ever discussed. It's like he just he just piled it on and piled it on and piled it on in the basement and piled it on in the attic and piled it on in the closet, and just thought I'd never see it and I would never know about it, and someone's kind of pulling out a lot, and I would never would never just discover it. And like, I did. I discovered what was really happening. I discovered his secret. I discovered the fact that he did not care at all, and he was extremely apathetic. And it's just, it's so painful. It's so painful to have to come to grips with this. It really is. It's horrible. I didn't want it to be true. And I just couldn't accept it. I just could not, deep down I knew it was true, but I just could not accept it. I wanted to continue believing he was a good man and a good father and a good this and a good that. And, he was just a creep. A creep from the beginning, I remember he told me that when he was a little kid, and this was back in like the 50s or something, my dad's pretty old, he said just after school, every day he'd go out with a slingshot or a BB gun and he'd just kill as many birds and squirrels and rabbits as he could. Every day, just doing that, again and again and again. And it's like, there's something seriously creepy and wrong with that person. There's something seriously wrong with that guy. There is something seriously wrong with that individual. There really, really is. Like, I remember, and I've told this story before, but he's giving me a shoulder ride. I'm maybe 2 or 3 years old. This is like, I don't think I'm even 3 years old. I'm like 2 years old. This is like one of my first memories. And he dangles me over the balcony, like, oh, gonna drop you. And, I would have died had I fallen off that balcony that he dangled me off of. Being 2 years old, my soft little skull would have bounced off those stairs and I would have died. And it's just, it's disgusting. It's like, I would never do that to my kid. I would never dangle my 2-year-old off a banister and, oh, gonna drop it. I would never do that. And, it's no wonder that a freaking dog would not trust that man. And, like, dogs know good and bad people. He always hated dogs, too. And I was like, who hates a dog? I didn't get that. I was like, I love dogs. You pet them, they're cute, whatever. He's like, yeah, I don't like dogs. And like, they know, like, animals know when someone is creepy and weird. They can just pick up on it. And, yeah, just like these people are not who you think they are. And, I mean, maybe my story is unique. Maybe my case is unique. But it's just like the passive aggressive, weird, just psychoness, and just like, I never really enjoyed spending time with him. It always felt like a chore. Even from the time I was a little kid, it felt like I was doing him a favor by just even spending time around him. And just, his energy was just that weird and that off and just that strange and just, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of just venting and getting into personal stuff here, but whatever, this has been on my mind. And just, I can't stand these covert narcissists, passive-aggressive beta males. They ruin families, they ruin women, they ruin children, they ruin relationships, and they're just weirdo creeps. So, thank you all for listening to me, getting this stuff about my dad off my chest. It's what we do here. It's therapeutic. I'm sure a lot of people will be really helped by it. So, I got to put it out there. So, yeah, thank you all for listening. God bless you all. I love you all so much. You guys are great. And, yeah, blessings from God, love and kindness. And, yeah, I will see you all next time.